headline story on the Daily Nation. The interview with U.S. Ambassador to Kenya, Kyle McCarter. Serious matters. He says he refers to corruption as thievery, because that's what it is. Let me just read out a few of the quotes he's quoted as statements he's quoted as making. He says that, okay, the envoy warned those implicated in the Akasha Brothers drugs network, that their days were numbered. But when, not if, the U.S. will airlift those implicated in blocking the extradition of the Akasha brothers, that is Baktash and Ibrahim, is not clear. He says, my message to them is simple. Beware, we'll look for you, we'll come for you, said McCarter. If we have the ability to do it, we will do it. He goes on to say, this thievery has to stop. We shall not support anybody stealing money in Kenya to pay school fees in the U.S. for their kids. And he goes on to say, we have to prosecute influential people to be an example to everyone. Though Kenya is making progress in netting the big fish, it's not as fast as we want. And he goes on to say, as far as the Mombasa-Nairobi Expressway is concerned, he says Kenya has hit a debt ceiling. The onus is on Kenya to put its debt in order. We do not want to put debt on Kenyans. We want to do business in a transparent and ethical way. So he talks about two things: war on drugs. He talks three things actually: war on drugs, corruption, and Kenya's debt. Let me start with you, Senator Wamatangi. What do you make of his remarks?
Well, thank you, Olive. And as I say, good morning to our viewers. And let me also salvage the ego of Otende Amolo. Because, you know,
it was in good
and for you to be safer, now that he's near you, describe his position as the end of the beginning. Anyway, thank you. And yeah, this is an interesting story, but I think we need to put some facts right, which I think are not necessarily right. Let me start with this declaration by the U.S. on the expressway project, because I've said here before, I'm the chairman of Roads and Transport in Parliament, in Senate, and that assertion that it is the U.S. who put brakes on this project because of the debt ceiling levels is not accurate. It's not accurate because this project was intended to be constructed under what is called a PPP. And the proposals by the consortium from the American side that had proposed to build this project had rates that were not favorable to this country, because under PPP, which is private money, they were charging interest rates that were way beyond what we are able to accommodate. And so, after considerations, the relevant minister decided that that would be too expensive. And so, a rethink was taken, and maybe this would be taken under government's own funds, plus other donors who do it on a more friendly basis, or partners who do it on a more friendly basis. And so that is really where matters are. But it's not that the project is suspended. Indeed, right now, the construction of that highway is ongoing. If you go to the junction from Machakos downwards, it's being built downwards towards Machakos, and then from there it will be built in sections. It would have been a better deal if it was possible to do it as a one-off, the way it was earlier on proposed. But then those cost factors must be looked at, and it's not the only project in the infrastructure development sector that suffered similar fate. Lots of considerations were done on several projects. So
you're saying this is not an accurate portrayal of
no,
what
I don't. It isn't, in my view, and from the information which I have, and which is factual, because this is a matter we've discussed at a parliamentary level in my committee, and we have had answers, including written, and also the facts on the ground. For example, like I've said, the construction is already going on under a phased arrangement by government, and right now they're at Machakos Junction, which they're extending, and and it will go on like that until within the sections where they're able to get funding from more friendly donors. You see, if
currently financing what is under construction presently.
Yes.
We haven't yet secured funding for the remaining phases.
Not yet.
Okay.
But then to come to the more substantive issues, for example, is on the issue of drug lords and those that profiteer from selling drugs. And on that vote, I would want to agree with them that this vice is one that we have to fight ruthlessly. We've discussed this here before, and no one needs to be reminded in this republic what becomes of our young people when they are hooked into this vice. What happens to societies and communities? And I'm one of the few legislators representing a county that has suffered a lot from abuse of drugs. And you remember we even undertook a major operation in the entire Kiambu, and let me say Central Kenya region, to be rid of alcohol, but also hard drugs. Because in most of those upcoming urban and peri-urban areas, like in Ruiru, Juja, in Kikuyu, you have Nairobi now spreading towards, like for example, Kiambu. Drug abuse is one real big problem that we have been dealing with. So when we speak about drugs, on that one we're on the same page. What I would want to probably apply my mind to with a little skepticism is whether really at this time we would want to call the American government the arbiter or the representation of what fairness and justice and the execution of social morals is. I mean, I find that the Americans are very quickly getting into a position where they cannot claim that mantle. Yes, because you see, if you look at some of the issues, even ongoing with the scandals in the Trump administration, in the previous administrations, from vote rigging to some declarations, including hate speech by their own president, in so many cases. And you find some of those areas. And of course, you've seen the spat they've had with other countries about, leakages and subversion. What I'm saying is that I'm doubtful that the way they've progressed, that they would want to say that they're the moral arbiter of society right now, and that they would say that read and look at us to be the example. Lastly, is on what you've said now on barring individuals, be they legislators, big shots, and my curiosity is drawn by that declaration that they will not let anyone connected to the Akasha drug scandal go scot-free. But then if you look at the Star, the headline is on Ombeta, the lawyer who represented them, speaking about how he almost died in the hands of the Americans. Yes. And I was asking, would there be a connection? Are they threatening Cliff Ombeta? And Cliff Ombeta, for all his goods and bads, for all that he's known for, I mean, I respect him as a dog of war when it comes to the hard fights. And they're lawyers, many of them, Otiende Amolo will speak to that more better in my view, because he's one of them, who have declared and also committed to fight the cause of justice, whichever way, whether it is in criminal cases or for representation or in other cases. And I think Ombeta rests in that category. So, finally,
I'd like to bring in, yes, the Gembe MP. Jacoyo Midiwe, he says you've got...
I can let Jacoyo proceed if let me conclude my thought, and Jacoyo, I'll give you the time, and actually I'll go into a small close of mind for you to speak as long as you want. But I wanted to say that barring legislators from either traveling to the US and other drug lords, if they are, or big shots in the country, well, I think that, in my view, from what I examined from the last time I've been in Parliament, sometimes it's done a bit selectively. You find that there are people who should be in that list, but you still find them comfortably traveling to the US, and you find how is the selection done to determine that it is you and you who will not travel, and then the others will travel. I think they would rather then put it open and say these are the credentials, these are the qualifiers for you. If you fit in here, then you can travel. But when it is done secretly, and only an announcement will be made that Jakayo Midiwo can no longer travel to the US because he's suspected, and it is not open, you wonder whether there are other, other aspects involved. Yeah.
All right.
But they've done a good thing to put up that fight, the US.
Okay.
Thank you.